Welcome to tutorials on C programming. These tutorials are based on the textbook The C Programming Language written by Dennis Ritchie and Brian. This is the first chapter of the book, a tutorial introduction. This chapter doesn't take you down into the details of a C program, but it gives you an overall idea of how a C program is. Arrays. An array is defined as the collection of similar type of data items stored at contiguous memory locations. This program is illustrating the use of array. So as I've told, array is the collection of similar type of data items. So this program is used to count digit, white space characters and all other characters. Here digit means 0 to 9 we are counting. White space means blank, tab or new line. All this will be counted and considered as white space characters, and all others as others or other characters. Okay, so it is convenient to use an array to hold the number of occurrences of each digit. So how many times 0 is occurring, how many times 1 is occurring, how many times 2 is occurring. If we don't use an array, we should use 10 variables for it. Like from 0 to 9, if we are counting how many times they are occurring, and we have to increment a variable for each digit, you have to use 10 variables. But use of a single array eliminates that. So let's see the program in detail. You can see int n digit of 10. This is the declaration of an array. It declares n digit to be an array of 10 integers. How will you denote all these 10 integers? You can take it individually by using the subscript. Array subscript always start from 0. That is, elements will be n digit of 0, n digit of 1 up to n digit of 9. Please note that it is from 0 to 9, not up to 10, because 0 to 9 means it makes 10 elements in that array. So you can see with this logic, the for loop is used to initialize each element of the array with 0. Since it is count, we are initializing each element of the array with 0 using the for loop. For I is equal to 0, I less than 10 plus I, n digit of I is equal to 0. We have already seen for loop in previous video. First it is initialization, then there is a condition check whether the subscript I is less than 10, and then there is an increment operation. So after the condition check, n digit of I will be assigned with 0. So since initial value of I is 0, first n digit of 0 will be given 0. Then increment operation takes place. So I will become 1. Again 1 less than 10. Yes, condition is correct. So n digit of 1 will be assigned 0. This will continue till I is equal to 10. When I is equal to 10, the condition becomes wrong and it comes out. So by that time, all the 10 elements of n digit array will be initialized to 0. Next one is the if condition. If c greater than or equal to 0 and c less than or equal to 9. Here ASCII value of 0 and 9 is considered, and c is int c. So whatever digit you enter, it will be stored with its ASCII value in the machine. So it is comparing whether that digit's ASCII value is greater than or equal to 0 and or less than or equal to 9. So suppose we know that ASCII value of 0 is 48 I think. So the digit you enter, whether it is between 0 and 9, this is the check whether that is a digit. To know that whether it is a digit, this is the check. If it is a digit, it is trying to find out which array element should be incremented. For that, You see 0 is having the ASCII value 48, and from 48 for 1 it will be 49, for 2 it is 50, for 3 it is 51, it goes on. Suppose you are entering the digit 1. So 1 is having ASCII value 49. So n digit of C will be 1. 1 means 49. 49 minus ASCII value of 0. 0 will be 48. So 49 minus 48, the subscript will be 1. So if the digit entered is 1, n digit of 1 will be incremented. You can see plus plus n digit. Suppose you are entering 2. So n digit of 50. 50 is the ASCII value of 2. So 50 minus 48. Again, the subscript will be 2. So that particular element will be incremented. This is how the count is getting incremented based on the digit you enter. Now suppose if it is not a digit, then you have to go to the else portion. And if it is not any of those mentioned in the else, that is if it is not any of the white spaces mentioned in the else, then it goes to the next else. If else statements for multi-way decisions. You can see if else statement in the program which I have explained now. This is a way to express multi-way decisions. The conditions are evaluated in order from top until some condition is satisfied. When any of the condition is satisfied, corresponding statement will be executed. If none of the condition is satisfied, the statement after final else is executed if it is present. If the final else and statement is not present, no further actions takes place. And the statement 1, statement 2, etc., it's not mandatory that these statements should be a single statement. It can also be a group of statements. And there can be any number of else if condition statement groups between the initial if and final else. There is no limitation. And there is another method of expressing multi-way decision in C, that is using the switch statement, which we'll see later. Let's see the illustration of array program. Here's the program. It's the same as the one I have explained. The prints come in this order. Initially, digits will be printed. So there will be 10 prints for this, that is digits. Then 10 numbers will be there. First number corresponds to number of 0, second number corresponds to number of 1, third number corresponds to number of 2, similarly up to 9. And after that, white space count will be there and other count will be there. And all these structures I have already explained. So let's see after executing the program. Compile the program. It's waiting for us to give the inputs. So we have to give inputs with the numbers and white spaces, new line, tabs, so you can see digits, it is printing 0, 1, 4, 0, 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 4. This 0 means we have not used any zeros in the input. 1, there is a single 1. Next is the count for 2. It's giving 4. Means 1, 2, 3, 4 2s are there. Then 5, 6, 7, 8 we have not provided as input. 9, sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are two 7s. 8, no 8s are there. 4 is the count that corresponds to the digit 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, that is correct. Then white space is 3. This 1, 2. 2 is the new line and 3 is the tab. It is counted at white space, that is 3, and other is 18. Other means the other characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So it is 18. Functions. Functions are a convenient way to encapsulate a computation. Encapsulate means to enclose with. So you can do a computation in a function such that that function encloses that computation. So in order to use that function in a program, you don't have to know how that job is done, but knowing what is done is sufficient. This will be more clear when we go through the following program. Here we are going to try the program for power, that is power of 2 comma 5 is 32, that is 2 raised to 5 is happening, or in general we can tell like power of m comma n is to raise an integer m to a positive integer n, or to a positive integer power n. This m raised to n, it is computing. So we are writing a function to compute m raised to n, and the name of that function is power. You can see the program on screen. So the program name, the function name is power, and it is written as int power in parenthesis int base comma int n. So this function raise base to nth power. The function definition has the form return type, function name, and in parenthesis the parameter declarations if any. Some functions may not have input parameters, some has input parameters. It is based on your implementation. Return type is the first thing you have to mention. So here you can see there int is the return type. Int means this function returns an integer. As a result of the computation done here, it returns an integer. Then comes function name. Function name is power. You can give any name to the function. It doesn't matter. And in parentheses you can see int base comma int n. They are the parameters of the functions. After this line starts the opening brace of the function, and in between there will be declarations and there will be statements based on your implementation, and after the statements there will be a closing brace. Suppose there are more than one function in a program and you are calling the functions by name from main. So this function definitions or this implementation of the functions can appear in any order. And it can appear in a single source file or in many source files. The only thing is if it appears in different source file, the compilation and command will change. Now for the moment we assume that both these functions, that is main and the power function, is in the same file. So whatever we have learned now, like the commands will work for this. Then you can see the function power is called by main. Twice it is called. Where is it called? It is in that printf statement inside main. Printf %d %d slash n I power of 2 comma I and power of minus 3 comma I. So 2 times it is called. Here in this printf statement, first %d corresponds to the value of I, second %d to the function called power of 2 comma I, and the third %d to power of minus 3 comma I. Now int power in parenthesis int base comma int n is there, it declares the parameter types. The name used by power for its parameters, that is base and n, it is local to power. That means this name can be used by any other function as well, but it will not show the value present in the function power. So the name used by power for its parameters are local to power and are not visible to any other function. Other routines can also use the same name without any conflict. This is also true about the variable inside this function, int I and p. So our function power has I. At the same time, in main also there is a variable named I. But these both are not related. They are unrelated. They are completely different. In general, we use a parameter term for a variable inside the parenthesis list in a function. Also, we use formal argument, actual argument for this parameter name. And the value that power computes is returned to main by the return statement. There is a format for return statement, it is return expression. A function need not always return a value. There are functions which doesn't return a value. A return statement with no expression means that return statement is not returning any value, but it is returning the control back to the calling function or the caller function. Also, a calling function can ignore a value returned by a function. That is also possible. This is relevant in case of main. You might have noticed in this case there is a return statement at the end of main. Main is like any other function. It is returning a value to its caller. The caller of main here is the environment in which the program is getting executed. Typically, a return value of 0 implies normal termination. In case of main, a return value of 0 means normal termination, and if it is a non-zero value means it is an erroneous termination. So as till now we have omitted return statement for our main functions, but now onwards we will be using a return statement. And you can see before main there is a declaration int power in parenthesis int base comma int n semicolon. Just before main you can see. It says that power is a function that expects two integer arguments and returns an int. This declaration is also called a function prototype. If you have written this function prototype, then this has to agree with the definition and use of power. Both cannot be different, like the number of variables, the type of variables, the return type of the function, everything should be matching. It's an error if the definition of a function or any uses of it do not agree with its prototype. Parameter names need not agree. Indeed, parameter names are optional in a function prototype. It's not compulsory to mention the parameter names in the function prototype. So for the prototype, we could have written just int power in parenthesis int comma int. Well chosen names are good documentation for the functions as well as the variables. Now let's see the power program. Here's the program, the same as the one which I have already explained. Now let's see how this function is implemented. The call to the function will have power 2, I. I varies from 0 to 9. So it is called 10 times. Each time the output will be printed in a line. For the next call, output appears in next line. So for each call, there will be 3 digits in the output. First one will be I. Next one will be power of 2, I that result. next digit will be the result of power of minus 3 comma I. So you can see here in the power function, the computation is done p is equal to p into base. Let's see how this power is getting calculated. So first of all, I will be 0. So power of 2 comma 0 will be passed. Here this condition check will go wrong. That is, I is 1 and n is 0. So 1 is not less than n. So this statement p is equal to p into base will not be executed and the value of p, that is 1, will be returned. In that case, any number raised to 0 will have the value 1. So that comes true here for power of 2 comma I and power of minus 3 comma I. Now suppose I value is 2. So power of 2 comma 2 is passed. Here base is 2, n is 2. So here the calculation will be, initially p is 1. Now p is getting modified as p is equal to p into 2. So 1 into 2 will be 2. Now new value of p is 2. Now I is incremented. I will become 2. So here the check happens whether 2 is less than or equal to 2. Yes, 2 is equal to 2. So again this statement will be executed and p is equal to p into base. That is, p is already 2. 2 into base is also 2, 4. So the answer will be 4. Similarly, it goes on till I is equal to 9. So till 2 raised to 9 and minus 3 raised to 9 will be calculated. Now let's see the output. Compile the program. Here we have written, I hope you have noticed, we have written it as int main and return value is 0. So in this case, that warning which we were getting in the earlier programs will disappear. So main is returning int value to its environment. Here is the output. In the first row you can see 0, 2 raised to 0 and minus 3 raised to 0. The answer is 1. Next row you can see 1, 2 raised to 1 and minus 3 raised to 1. It is 2 and minus 3. Similarly it goes on till value is 9. That is, 2 raised to 9 is 512 and minus 3 raised to 9 it is minus 19,683. We have already seen functions communicate each other via arguments which are placed very next to the function name. So these arguments can be passed in two ways. They can be passed by value or passed by reference. Passed by value is same as call by value. So in call by value, called function is given the values in temporary variables, not in originals. Whereas in call by reference, we are passing the original variable, not a local copy. Call by value leads to more compact program because here parameters can be treated conveniently and they can be initialized as local variables in the call routine. The function shown here makes it more clear. The functionality is same as the one discussed before, that is to calculate the power or raise base to nth power. You can see int base and int n are the two arguments in this function. These are temporary variables or local variables. The parameter n is decremented. In for loop, you can see the parameter n is getting decremented till it is 0. So in this case, there is no need for an extra variable I. So whatever is done to n inside the power function has no effect on the argument that power was originally called with. That doesn't affect the value passed to the power function because n is a local variable and is getting decremented inside power function. When necessary, you can arrange for a function to modify a variable in a calling routine. In that case, we refer to pass by reference. In pass by reference, we are providing the address of the variable. And the call function must declare, when you are passing the address, the call function must declare the parameter to be a pointer and access the variable indirectly through that pointer. That happens in call by reference. We'll be discussing call by reference in detail in coming chapters. Remaining part of the chapter will be uploaded in another video. Please do like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching.